So, a lot of people last night were asking me, they said, Jack, how did you know? How did you know that President Trump did not write those tweets about Syria and Assad? How did you know? They asked me how I knew. I said, guys, I know the same way how I always know, because I talk to people who have placement and access, understand these things, right? JackPosobiec, veteran Navy intelligence officer, author of Citizens for Trump. Now, what a lot of people didn't understand, and they asked me, they said, Jack, how did you know the president didn't write those tweets? I'll point to two things. Number one, I didn't think it sounded like him, so I went around asking people, hey, did he really write those, or was that written and he kind of approved of a general thing? And they said, yeah, okay. Then, have you seen any pushback whatsoever on what I reported from the White House? Have you seen any pushback whatsoever from the White House on what I reported? Normally, if someone puts out fake news, President responds pretty quickly, White House responds pretty quickly. Nobody has reported any problem with what I said. No pushback whatsoever. Didn't deny it already. And then people were saying, well, Jack, we know Trump wants to strike Syria, and then somebody struck Syria last night, so it's probably us because you see the tweets. And I said, I don't think it's us, because I know Trump didn't write those tweets, because I know he doesn't want to do this. Not yet, not right now, he wants to wait for there to be an investigation. And so all these people were reporting that it was the United States, but I knew it wasn't. Why? Because I knew that the president didn't write those tweets. That's not where his head's at right now. Might be there later, I don't know. But from my reporting, for all the people I talked to, they said, no, president's not there yet. President isn't ready. President wants to meet with his full team. He wants Bolton on. Today's Bolton's first day. He's going to meet with them. He's going to meet with everybody. He's going to decide what to do. Cruise missile strikes are the most likely thing. Tell you that, guys, right now. Plus, if you looked at the initial reports, they all talked about jets. The U.S. wouldn't need jets if they wanted to strike Syria. We have cruise missiles. We have very good cruise missiles, Tomahawk land attack missiles. We do not need jets. Why would we even do that? Think about it. Yeah, you're putting someone in harm's way. You're putting a pilot in harm's way. Launch a cruise missile. That's what they're there for. Standoff, fire, forget. Guided missile, done. All you need. So, people said, well, Jack, what does it mean that he didn't write the tweets? What did you say that he didn't write the tweets himself? What does that mean? I said, here's what it is. Here's what it comes down to. The president, it looks like Israel. It looks like it was Israel. I haven't gotten confirmation on that, but it looks like it was Israel, which would make sense. I mean, come on, who's right there? Who flies over? Who would need to fly over Lebanese airspace? Just look at a map, people. Just look at a map. So, people said, what's the backstory? Why do you say he didn't write the tweets? The tweets are up on his account. What does it mean? Well, here's what happens. Our press office, under Sarah Huckabee Sanders, wants to put out something, wants to get it out there quick. They want a big response. They know that the president's tweets are going to get much bigger response than anything they put out as just a press release, right? They also know that they can say things and be a little more hot with it, because there's a little bit of wiggle room that you get with the president's tweets that aren't quite as, I wouldn't say, as precise, as carefully worded as the official statements are. So, President tweets kind of get his sentiment out. So Sarah goes to Chief of Staff Kelly, General Kelly. Kelly goes to the president. They say we want to put out some tweets condemning the attack. Is that okay with you? He says, yeah, it's fine. He said, very well, go ahead, go forth, condemn the attack, use the tweets, go for it. But he didn't know that they were going to go so far as to call out Russia and Putin and the animal Assad nickname, which the president didn't like, by the way. The president said said it was low energy. Said, yeah, the Nick Animal Assad, I don't like it. There's no hook to it. There's no, it's not very visual, so he didn't like it. And that's another way you can tell that it wasn't the president who wrote that. So he didn't like the nickname, said it was low energy. But everybody ran with it. Why am I the only journalist? Or correction, why didn't any of the journalists go and ask this question as well? Anyone could see that. So, yeah, it's not the kind of nickname Trump would write. It just isn't. Go look at any of his tweets. He doesn't tweet like that. So, after those come out, he looked at it and said, all right, well, that's what my tweet said. So, internally, since about 10 a.m. yesterday morning, he was trying to walk it back. He said, look, I'm not gonna, make Russia and Assad pay the price. That's not, that's not where we're at yet. We need to find out who did this. We need to find out how it was done. We need to find out the extent. We've got to find out who knew about it, who authorized it, before we come up with a response to this, instead of putting out knee-jerk messaging in what is a very caustic and, complex situation. So, that is the deal for where we're at right now. The president, of course, is going to be holding national security meetings pretty much all day today. He's going to be meeting with Bolton for the first time in his official capacity. He's going to be meeting with the generals. He's going to be meeting with his entire national security team is coming out today. So, and they had a very late night last night. So it wouldn't surprise me, I don't know this for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Israel strike, assuming it was Israel, was deconflicted, or at least kind of given somewhat of a green light from the administration. Israel certainly is going to act in its own interest, and Israel is certainly going to use their F-16 power projection force as they see fit. They certainly don't need approval of the United States to conduct strike operations. And they have done so before. They have flown this very same route over Lebanon into Syria to strike specific targets. That being said, in this case, Israel has not taken credit for the strike themselves, and so that leads many to kind of scratch their heads and say, was it really them? So, we can't, like I said, all indications are that it's Israel, but of course has not yet been confirmed. But when you really look at the operation, when you look at the players involved in the area, it seems the most likely candidate would be Israel. But sure, I mean, there are certainly many players in that area right now who know or who have capabilities to conduct a strike like this, and all over the Mediterranean when it really comes down to it. So it's not something that only Israel could have done, which I heard some people say, and that's not 100% true either. But of course, I'm getting technical. But that's what, hey, I was an intelligence officer, so that's what we're told to do. They said, could anyone else have done this? Yes, conceivably they could have. Is it most likely Israel? Yes, it's most likely Israel. But what it comes down to, when it really comes down to it, the question isn't so much who did what, it's what's the result, right? So the strike happened. What did it target? A lot of people are saying that it targeted anti-air defenses. Now, if it did target anti-air defenses, as some of the early reports stated, that was what we call a softening up strike. Softening it up for a later strike or a greater strike. And so I stayed up pretty late last night talking to people, seeing if anything more was going to come, because check out the air defenses first, then you can start actually taking out operational facilities such as the airfield itself, hangars, the specific personnel, any of that stuff. Or, maybe it's just a message. Maybe it's just a message to say we could, right? We could do more, but we're going to leave it at that. So that's where the situation is right now. Of course, as you guys know, I'll be talking to my sources all day, talking to my people all day. A lot of folks in town in DC, might be meeting up with them later, possibly tomorrow. We will see. But for now, JackPosobiec, veteran Navy intelligence officer and author of Citizens for Trump.